And joining me now is NBC News Justice and Intelligence Correspondent Ken Dilanian. So, Ken, what do we know about the documents seized at Mar-a-Lago?
Good morning, Andrew. Well, the warrant tells us the FBI seized 5 sets of documents marked top secret. And that means information that, if disclosed, would pose exceptionally grave danger to U.S. national security. But among that was one set marked top secret, sensitive, compartmented information. And as you know, Andrea, from covering the intelligence community for a long time, that means information that's so secret only a small group of people inside the U.S. government can see it, those who have a need to know. We're talking about things like CIA, names of CIA sources in Moscow, or images from the most advanced spy satellites. This information was so sensitive that the FBI agents who took it out of Mar-a-Lago would have had to take it to a special facility. We're talking about the most protected secrets in the U.S. government.
You have to even read them in a vault. So what about the urgency? The former president said he cooperated. They had to go with a search warrant. That's what has outraged so many people on the right.
Right, and people are asking, well, if it was so urgent, why did it take a year? And it's becoming clear as we learn more about this investigation that the FBI only gradually came to learn that there was this extent of classified information sitting there at Mar-a-Lago. And there was a progression here. The National Archives turned over 15 boxes of records. There was classified information in it. They referred it to the Justice Department, which began investigating. We know that the top counterintelligence official of the DOJ was down in Mar-a-Lago meeting with Trump lawyers in June, but they were assured, and they handed over some documents, and then they were assured there were no classified documents left. And then the Justice Department came to learn that may not be true, which seems to have led them to seek a search warrant.
We understand that we confirm that they had an informant. So does it even matter if these documents were classified, because the 3 potential crimes that were listed in the search warrant don't require the documents to be classified?
Exactly. That's getting lost here amid this debate about Trump's defense that he can declassify anything. None of these three statutes require that the information be classified. The DOJ's position is these are U.S. government documents, property of the government, not Donald Trump's. It's illegal to steal them, and it's illegal to mutilate or conceal them to obstruct an investigation. And then you have the Espionage Act, which requires an intent to harm the United States, which suggests that the FBI at least has suspicions about the motives in storing these documents.
So when might we hear something? And how would they decide whether to even take the extraordinary step of indicting a former president?
There's so much we don't know because we haven't seen that affidavit of probable cause where the FBI lays out the justification. There's a couple of possibilities here. One is that this was just about getting the documents back. The FBI has their documents. That's the end of it. Another is that there were crimes committed here about the mishandling of information, and we'll see a case go forward. And then a third, most ominous possibility is it's something even worse than that. It's about what was Donald Trump doing with those documents? Why did he have them there? Some of these documents would be worth billions of dollars to our adversaries, Andrea.
Alarming, obviously, to national security officials. Yep. Ken Dilanian, thanks so much for bringing us up to speed. Okay.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.